Howdy, folks. Alright, this is going to be an update on the PK380. Now, before I write this thing off as a total loss and decide to go sell it to some criminal or drug dealer or something to get him killed whenever he decides to do something stupid with a legit concealed carry holder, I'm going to attempt a repair. My own repair on this PK380 because Walther has failed. It's already been sent back to them once. So, I think I figured out what the problem is, and I think I can fix it. I watched a video on YouTube from a Freedom Fighter 1776, and he had a pretty good video on how to repair it. He didn't have his tripod set up, so he doesn't show you, but he kind of walks you through it, kind of like how I do with the cars, where I'm generally just lazy to get the tripod. So this is my P99, okay? And here is the extractor / loaded chamber indicator. So if you're not familiar with how this thing works, this is the extractor. And as you can see, it's on a bit of a pivot. I can move this in by pressing on it. And I'll get some better light in here so you can see how the loaded chamber indicator works, because right now it's unloaded, which is why it's sitting completely flush with the frame. Alright, so if you can see here, see how that red's there? Whenever you load around into the chamber, this extractor claw here rests up against the case, and then this shows that we have a loaded chamber. So I got my dummy rounds here. I'll show you how that goes. So now we're loaded with a fake round, and as you can see, we're not quite flush. The extractor is here, and then you can see the red there, so we know it's loaded. Now, if we try to cycle this, we can see that the claw is perfectly contacting the case. And it remains with it the whole time. Keeps it perfectly straight until you pull it all the way back. So now we have a second round in there. I apologize for the camera work here, but I'm trying to pull with my weak hand on the slide in an awkward position, so slow enough that you can see. So as you can see, this case is in the claw, and it carries it all the way back. The bullet does not move until you hit the ejector, and then it just pops out. Boom. So on and so forth in that manner. So that's how it's supposed to work. This is the P99. This gun works perfectly. So now we're going to move to the PK380, and I'll show you what it's doing. Okay, so here's the PK380, and it doesn't really have like the P99 where the loaded chamber indicator has got a little red deal. It's more of a, you can see if there's a casing in there by looking through this little window. As you can see, there's not one, it's unloaded, and we're going to demonstrate its failure with our fake ammunition here. So, similar setup, right? We have an extractor here. There's a pin that runs through here, so it does pivot, should pivot on that axis, and then inside there, the extractor claw should ride on the casing. Now, there's nothing in here, so it's perfectly flush, just like it was on the P99. So let's put a round in and see what's doing. Okay, so now we're loaded. The ammunition's dark, so it's kind of hard to see it in there, but it's there. Now, what have we noticed about the extractor? It hasn't moved. It's in the same position. So you may be saying, well, that's not necessarily that big of a deal. What if it's resting up against the case properly? Well, let's find out if it is, shall we? So as we pull, we can see the claw is gripping the case, just like it's supposed to. This round is going to eject. Off it goes. Now, let's try that again. We're pulling, we're pulling. Look what happened. We lost contact with the case. See that? Claw's not touching it. This round is not going to eject. Pull it back, it's still stuck in the chamber, and we're going to feed the next round in there. It's going to cause a malfunction. And that's not correctable. So we're going to try it again. Same round. Look. It's not riding up against the case like it should, like it does in the 9mm. This one will eject. This one won't. See how it's moving around in there? Failed to eject. That's what's happening with this thing. That claw isn't riding up against the casing properly. Now, at first I thought maybe the problem is the barrel. Like maybe it's too loose inside there. You know, I need an empty magazine to lock the slide back. Okay, so I thought maybe the problem is the barrel's loose, like it's bored out incorrectly. But I mean, if you put that in there and... yeah, the casing moves around a little. But it does the same thing in the P99. I put a 9 in the P99 and it still moves around. Maybe not as much as this, but it still moves. So I don't think that's the problem. This thing is still flush, whether there's a round in the chamber or not. And I think that's what the problem is. So what we need to do is pop this thing out. We're going to try to stretch the spring a little to get more tension on the backside. I'm going to get a file. I'm going to file down this. There's a spot. You know what? I'll show you. I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay. And if you don't know how to take this thing apart, it's fairly easy. You stick that thing in, rotate to the front, and then just like, at that point, it's just like your regular gun, like a Glock or P99 or whatever. That comes down, pull that forward, boom, and then now we're disassembled. Okay. So, this is the pin right here. 5/64 is what we're going to do to punch this thing out. We're going to punch the pin out through the top of the slide. And then we're going to pull the extractor out. And then right where the extractor's touching the slide here, right in this area, we're going to file that down. We're going to file it down nice and smooth. We're going to stretch the spring out. And we're going to lube the hell, possibly even sand the pin to make sure that that extractor is moving and pivoting like it's supposed to. See, here we are with the extractor claw. We're going to try to get it to where this is in, this is out slightly. There's going to be enough pressure up against the case where this thing's going to extract like it's supposed to every time. So, I've already got I ordered all the stuff that I needed. I ordered the that fake ammunition, my little snap caps, so I can try to cycle this when we're done, so I'm not cycling my ammunition and wearing the that case out. And then we're going to, I ordered the punch set. That came in. I ordered some files for like jewelry or wood or gunsmithing, etc., and a little hammer. And since I got the tripod, I'll be able to show you in real time how we're doing this, how we're going to punch this thing out and get her done. So, again, the original video I watched, Freedom Fighter 1776, really good explanation, and I'm going to show you with the tripod exactly what he did. We have a problem, boys. I got rooked. So, I said my files that came in today, the things I was going to use to file down my extractor, this is the only package that was on the front porch. I picked up the bag and I'm like, oh yeah, it feels like a small thing of files. They're bras. Look at that. What am I going to do with this? Triple XL. What? This thing looks small as fuck. I don't know. Maybe they're bigger than I think they are. I was going to say, my wife's got pretty big tits, so I don't see how these will fit, but maybe they will. Or maybe triple XL in China is like A cups in America. I don't know. We'll see. That remains to be seen. But bottom line is, damn it, my files aren't here. So I'm going to have to use sandpaper on the extractor, which fucking sucks. But whatever. And just for you guys, I went all the way downstairs again after I went and grabbed my whatever I forgot. What the hell did I forget down there? Oh, my tripod. But I forgot to grab my micrometer, or my digital caliper, whatever you want to call it, because I'm going to tell you guys exactly how thick I make the spring and how much I file off of the extractor. That way you'll know how to do that, and you won't have to guess. The crappy part is I'm going to have to use sandpaper to do it now instead of a metal file, so womp womp. Alright, I guess let's get started on this shit show. Okay, so after messing around with the different angles, I think we're just going to have to do it like this. You can kind of sort of see what we're going to do, but I can't really get this thing exactly overhead, or I'm going to have to be zooming in a bunch, and that might distort the quality. So our 5/64 punch and our hammer, and I got this extractor taped up so this thing doesn't go flying off the spring into the abyss, because that may or may not happen. We'll err on the side of caution. So we're going to take our pick, or our punch, 5/64, and we're just going to gently hammer this guy through here until she protrudes out the other side. You'd be surprised how little force this actually takes. So we're poking through a little. It doesn't need to come all the way out. I'll try not to get it all the way out, but, if I do, I do. Alright, that might be far enough, I'm thinking. Let's see, shall we? Yeah, I can feel this wanting to come loose now. Looks like this has been tried once before. See? It's a little shiny on the top. Like this has been filed before. Maybe not enough? Or maybe when this thing's on the pin, this pin's just not letting it pivot. The spring isn't enough, giving it enough tension. See if I can get this thing out of here. Get some measurements on the calipers for you guys. See what it is. Okay, so at the point where it's completely gripping the spring, we're at 6.92 millimeters. So we're going to try to move this up a scotch to maybe 7 and some change, only just. And also note that there is a small pin where the spring goes. The spring goes around this pin that's in there, I guess, to hold it in place, so don't lose that. Alright, so we're just after 7.04, so I adjusted it, or stretched it just a scotch. And to get an idea of exactly when it'll drop. So, gave it about a 1/2 millimeter of tension. So I'm thinking I might sand just a little bit down on this extractor, not much, because it looks like somebody else beat me to it. So this could have been Walther's themselves. Because it has been sent back to them once, so it's a little rough. I'll just bump it with a little sandpaper. I wish I had my file though. And then I think the problem is actually going to be more this pin and this thing. This hole are just not working. This thing needs to rotate freely around this roll pin here. So I may have to pop that all the way out and then just kind of sand it smooth. Or at least sand the spot where this is going to be resting. Sand that spot smooth. Alright, be back in a bit. Alright, progress report. I got this down. Let's see if I can focus here. This is now perfectly smooth. So I only messed with this a bit, just enough to make it smooth. I didn't take hardly any material off. It's silky smooth. Blingin'. And then, let's see if I can bring this into focus. The roller pin here, I sanded it to barely at all, just enough to really take that coat of black color off of it. That's it, and that was with, I think, 1,000 grit sandpaper? 400 grit. 400 grit wet or dry. Feels finer than that, really. Yeah, whatever. Alright, so 400 grit wet or dry. What I used on this guy, he's pretty smooth. So, just enough to make it clear or shiny. And then, of course, we stretched out our spring, and then this little guy in there is the little pin that holds the spring in place in there. Now, I oiled this in here, so I'm just going to... I think we're ready to go back together, and we'll just lube this pin and or this spot once we go in. That way this thing can pivot properly, just enough to hopefully stay up against the case. Alright, so hopefully we're focused. I got spring and its pin back in. I got that thing started. And then we're going to go ahead and put our extractor in place. And we only need to get this thing through here just a little bit further. And then I'll be able to use the punch the rest of the way to level her out. So, looks like... something like that looks like it'll work. I think we can get her in with that. A little bit more to go. Almost. That should work, I think. It's just just coming out right there. And on this side, it's pretty far in there, at least halfway through. And then I'd say on this side is probably about halfway through. So I'd say we're pretty even. Now, the question of the day is, does this claw move slightly? I mean, I can't really move it, but assuming this went in straight and didn't foul on anything over here. See, it's in a little bit and out a little bit, but it should be backwards. Or no, I guess that would be right. Because that's how it was on the P99, right? When there was a loaded cartridge in. Well, let's load a cartridge and we'll see what's happening. I think we're finally at the experiment stage, so let's experiment. Alright, we're going to find out together, boys. What do we got? Got our fake ammunition. See what happens. Let's load the first cartridge. So this is more or less flush. Doesn't look like it's changed much. That one ejected. Nope. We've failed. Mission failed. Failed again. Well, shit, son. Guess we're going back. Doing it again. I need to get this claw to the opposite of what it's doing. Maybe we need to shave more down. Maybe there's not enough shaved down. We'll try that. Alright, so here's where we're sitting. We filed this down a little more. We'll see how that does. It was at like a 5.05. I mean, now we're sitting at like not very small at all. I mean, I only took a little bit off. 4.95, so like 1/10 of a millimeter is the best we're doing here. So put it back together and we'll see what she does. Alright, so we're loaded up with our fake ammo. Everything's back together on this dude. Let's see what's doing here. Now, if you can tell, we made a wee bit of progress. See, there's a little bit of an indent there, if I'll focus. So you can kind of see how the light, we actually got a little bit of something there. No, nothing chambered yet, so let's find out. Okay, seems to still hold true. So let's see here. Does this thing stay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Think we fixed it, boys. Think we got a new record here. 5 ejections. I'll keep testing off camera so as not to bore you guys, but I think we got her fixed. I'll report back in a bit. Alright, I just went through about 35 of these deals just to confirm it. I haven't had a failed to eject yet, so we're going to do like the last 5 with you guys here. I've done it fast, and I did the most recent one slow, just to make sure that the case isn't moving at all. It's not moving at all. The case is staying perfectly still, and the extractor's pressed right up against the casing the whole time. So, I think we're good, boys. I'll show you the last 5. I'm confident that this thing works now. We're going to do a redemption run at the range just to make sure, and if we can burn through about 50 without a malfunction, I'd say she's fixed and she's ready for carry. I'm not going to carry it yet. I'm still going to carry my PPQ, but I'm pretty sure we're fixed it. So I'll show you another 5 nice and slow so you can see that it's not, the case isn't wobbling at all like it was before. Alright, so here's the last 5 we'll do. There's going to be about 50 total. So, see, casing's not moving at all. Boom. The claw, the extractor's right up against the casing. Still right up against it. There's no play at all in the casing now. And last, look at that. I'd say she's fixed, guys. I really do. So, you know, I got to give the shout out to the original discoverer of this technique, Freedom Fighter 1776. But, you know, I'm going to pick up where he left off. He doesn't tell you exactly how far to file it down. And you guys saw it. It went from, I don't know what it was originally, but I took it down to 4.95 millimeters, according to the digital caliper. So I think that's what you got to do. You're looking for a minimum of that flat spot. Well, I guess it's a hump spot that you want to go flat, and then get it to no greater than that. You might be able to go a little smaller, maybe 4.8 or something, but at 4.95 for sure it works. So I'd say you're good in the area 4.9, 4.95, anywhere in between there. I think we got a winner here, boys. So, all right, I'll cut the video off here. I'll edit it down, anything that doesn't need to be in there. Oh, and by the way, my files did actually come in, so I wasn't rooked. Apparently, whoever delivered the bras put them on just threw them on the front porch, and these were in the mailbox. I didn't look in the mailbox. I saw eBay delivered a package, opened the front door, there was a package laying on the front porch, like, oh, this is it, and then it ended up not being it, and then boom, in the mailbox. The one time they deliver something into my mailbox and I don't check it. So, I did use the files on that extractor, but 4.95 is what you want to get to, and it went flawlessly. Ever since I did that, it has not failed to eject one time. And these are pretty light compared to standard ammo. So I'd say this weighs about as much as an empty casing. So I'd say we're good. But we'll do a redemption run at the range next time I go, which isn't going to be for a couple weeks yet. I got my Blooming to Gold vacation next week. So in the next few weeks, I reckon, we'll have a redemption run of this thing, and we'll know for sure if I can carry it or if I need to sell it to some poor schmuck who's going to have a bad time when he needs to use it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.